Today we're talking about multiplying fractions. We are mainly going to be focusing on using models to demonstrate how to do this. So, Nicole has 4/5 of a bag of chips. She will use 3/4 of them to make nachos. How much of a bag of chips will Nicole use? So, we're going to draw a picture. So she has 4/5 of a bag of chips. She will use 3/4 of them to make nachos. So first we need to show how many chips she has to start with. So I'm going to divide this into fifths. Hopefully. Now, obviously fractions are the same size pieces and my drawing is not completely accurate, but we get the idea. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she has 4/5 of a bag of chips. So let's go ahead and shade that in. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. And she's going to use 3/4 of them to make nachos. So now we divide a little further. I'm going to divide this into fourths. So now I have 4 pieces going up and down. So she uses 3/4 of those to make nachos. So I'm going to select a different color. Hopefully. So she's going to use 3/4 of these to make nachos. So these get used. That's 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. So I have total pieces. I have 5, 10, 15, 20 total pieces. And double shaded, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 20ths. That's how much of the bag of chips Nicole will use. Now I need to simplify this or put it in simplest terms. I can divide both of those numbers. I can list the factors. I can start by dividing just by 2 because I see that they're not even. But the factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And if I just use those numbers, I can see that 4 will go into both of these. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. So Nicole will use 3/5 of a bag of chips. So if we were doing a problem like this, 3/5 times 1/3, like I have 1/3 of something and I'm going to use 3/5 of that. So maybe I have 1/3 of a pound of rice and I'm going to use 3/5 of the 1/3 that I have. So first I'm going to divide into 1/3, and then I'm going to divide into fifths. So she had 1/3. So she had this much to start with, 1/3. And she's going to use 3/5. So now we're looking at this piece right here and coming up with 3/5 of this. So 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. Now I see how many total pieces I had. I had 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 15 total pieces, and she used 3/15. I can divide both of those numbers by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. That's using a model. I also can find the answer by saying 3 times 1 is 3, and 5 times 3 is 15, and then simplifying and getting 1/5. I don't have to use a model, but that's the model helps you understand what you're doing or what you're being asked. Many of us would really rather just solve the problem. So we have 2/3 times 3/5. So I have 2/3 of 3/5. So I'm going to start by dividing the circle into 5 parts because that's my denominator right there. So into 5 parts. One, two, three, four, 5. Okay. She has 3/5. So I'm going to shade 3/5 of this circle. And then she used 2/3 of 3/5. Because my numerator and my denominator lined up like that, it works out really nicely. She used 2/3. So she used this piece and this piece, which means she used 2 pieces out of 5 pieces. If I do the math, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 5 is 15, and then if I divide them both by 3, I will get 2/5. Here's another problem. 4/5 times 1/2. Why don't you pause and think for a minute about how you would divide this model? So hopefully you thought, well, she has 4/5 of 1/2. Let me go ahead and divide in half first. And she has a half. So she has this much. Now I'm going to divide this half into 4/5. So I'm going to divide going horizontally into fifths. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So now she has 4 of those fifths. So she has 2, 3, 4. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4 total pieces out of 8 total pieces. No, 10 total pieces. Yes. Now I have to simplify this. I can divide them both by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2/5. I also can just multiply straight across and say 4 times 1 is 4, and 5 times 2 is 10, and then when I simplify, I get 2/5. So here we have 3/4 times 1/3. One of the most important things that you can do is figure out what type of model you're going to draw. I find rectangles are a lot easier to draw and to use than circles. So if I were to draw a rectangle, I would first divide it into 3 pieces. And she or he has 1/3 of those. Now I'm going to divide this horizontally into 4 pieces. And I'm going to shade in 3 of them. So overall, this person has 3 out of 12 pieces. They can both be divided by 3, and I end up with 1/4. I can also just multiply straight across. 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12, and then again, when I simplify, this is what I'm going to get. Here is your homework. I would like you to try to draw a model and solve. Remember, you are going to divide first up and down vertically by your second fraction, and then you will draw horizontally the other direction. All right, good luck. I know you're going to do great. If not, if you don't think you understand, watch again. Have a great night.